are you?
Good, thanks. Did Deb reply that she's going to join this meeting?
So Deb is no longer a member of the board. She did
Oh,
not
okay.
seek reappointment. And we do not have a new appointee as yet.
Okay, sounds good.
And we did hear, Mickey had let us know a couple of weeks ago that she had an already scheduled
Good evening.
event that she could not.
Well, okay, well, it's the three of us, well, the five of us with you and Suzanne, so that's good. Shall we start up?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Welcome to the Monday, July 10th, 2023, regular meeting of the Easton Planning and Zoning Board. This meeting will be held remotely and videoed, most likely live by ECAT. Being a remote meeting, there are a few notes. While the board members, committee commissioners, and applicants will be on video, the public participants will join as attendees, meaning they are muted and with no video feed. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized using the raised hand function or make a request within the Q&A, or if you're joining by phone, please press *9. We'll start with a roll call. Peter Deshane, present. Robert Stenson.
Present.
And Amos Kadem.
Present.
All right. The first item for tonight, I guess we should still mention that, well, Amos is no longer the alternate, so we're all full voting members. We have 518 Washington Street. Do we have that tonight, Stephanie?
Yes, Scott Rogers is here for that, and I did try to promote him to panelist, but I can provide you with an update. The board will remember that all we were waiting for was the stormwater approval or finalization of that review that's been completed. We did include a copy of that in your packet. We don't normally, but again, this has been going on for a while, and all the conditions and standards have been met, and it's ready for the board's approval.
Were there any changes made to the plan? I mean, we looked at it once, right? Or did we look at it twice?
Yeah, there were no substantive changes to the plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I don't think I have any questions then, unless the applicant happens to be here and we could.
Again, I had tried to promote Scott Rogers, who is the engineer on the project. Okay, it looks like he's going to join us.
I'm here, Stephanie.
Hello, just please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Scott Rogers from J.K. Holmgren Engineering.
Oh, thank you. So you've obtained the other approvals that you need for this project?
So we are before the Conservation Commission tonight, and as Stephanie had mentioned, we had a review by Beta Engineering. There was comment letters back and forth that happened end of June, and just the first of this month we got all the revisions made, and we got a final letter from Beta Engineering say they were ready to go on recommending approval for the project. So
yeah, Amos and Robert, were you here at the meetings where this was originally presented?
Yes, we were present. Yeah.
Okay.
My only question is, are we approving in a condition that the Conservation Committee will approve their review, or we wait until the Conservation finish?
Mr. Chair, if I may answer that, I talked with Jen Carlino today, and she said they're all set. So the expectation is the Conservation Commission will vote their approval.
Make a motion to approve the site plan at 518 Washington Street. Stetson.
Kedem, second.
Okay. All in favor? Stetson?
Aye.
Kedem?
Aye.
Deshane, aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Good night.
Night.
Okay. Next, we have, so Stephanie, is 537 Turnpike again continued because they're awaiting to connect with the historical
I
commission?
think we did receive the formal request to continue to the August 14th, 2003 meeting.
So motion to continue 537 Turnpike Street special permit for the duplex to August 14th. Kedem.
Second, Stetson.
All in favor? Kedem?
Aye.
Stetson?
Aye.
Deshane, aye. Next, 109 Howard Street, special permit, common driveway, Frank Gallagher, John O. Howard.
Frank should be joining us momentarily.
Shall I read the notice while we're waiting for everyone to join? In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 41, Section 81T of the Mass General Laws, the Easton Planning and Zoning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, July 10th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. to be held remotely on the application received from John O. Howard, trustee for a special permit common driveway under Easton Code Book Chapter 235-56 special permits in Section 235-32 common driveways to allow the creation of a common driveway located at 109 Howard Street. This meeting will be conducted remotely via Zoom. The virtual meeting link will be contained within the posted agenda at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting. A copy of the application and plan may be viewed on the town's website. This notice is also available online. Peter Deshane, Chair.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Gallagher, please introduce yourself for the record.
Hello. Yeah, my name's Frank Gallagher, Gallagher Engineering in Foxborough. I'm representing the applicant and the owner here, Howard Family Realty Trust. So the location here is 109 Howard Street. There's an existing house that's been there for, quite some time. It's part of a much larger parcel of land, all under the same ownership of the Howard family. And what we have submitted and what we're asking for is the ability to use the existing driveway that serves 109 Howard Street and use that as a common driveway to create a new lot that would be to the east of the existing house. It's about a little more than an acre and a half new lot. The land that would remain with the existing house would still be about 3.5 acres. I think the driveway meets the conditions that are required for a common driveway. It's 12 feet wide or more, and the cleared area around it is 18 feet. It's been in place for quite a while. That's what we'd like to do, just a common driveway for the creation of just one new lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
I'll leave it at that for now, I guess.
Stephanie, do you have any comments on this?
Yes.
You do.
both parcels are within the floodplain overlay district. And there are, and I included the reference in my staff report that the wetlands protection regulations need to be complied with when constructing within or proposing construction within the floodplain overlay district. In particular, as it applies, so one that's part of the zoning is the floodplain overlay district. And then in particular, how it applies here is that when you're requesting a common driveway, you need to demonstrate that there has been no change in the flow or the pattern of the flow of stormwater. And that would be applicable also to the floodplain.
So what's the process by which the floodplain matter is?
They need to file with the Conservation Commission. And in general, they need to demonstrate that they're either not adversely affecting the floodplain, which in essence is reducing the capacity of the floodplain to store water, or that they're providing compensatory storage.
So that's including like the new house and whatever, however that's going to be.
Right, because any of that placement of fill, including structures, will cause a different disbursement of the flood waters than currently exists.
And,
What we are actually approving, a common driveway to nothing at this point, only in the future when.
Well, they've shown, so they show in, Frank, are you going to share your screen?
No, I'm looking at this, but.
No, I understand.
yeah, but maybe for members of the public, we could ask someone to share their screen. That way we can all follow along.
Yeah, I'm actually on a computer in a different location, and I don't have that plan on this computer. So,
It's like
but
Stephanie
yeah,
has.
there it is. So, yeah, you can see that we've shown on lot 2, house and driveway. And as of yet, we haven't really shown how all that would be graded. We've just shown the proposed driveway extending off the common driveway, and we've shown a house at this point.
So what do you think? How do you expect to kind of work on complying with the FEMA?
Well, to be honest, the floodplain line is not accurate at all. And FEMA, I've found that this happens fairly regularly with them. They show floodplains that really aren't very representative of what's happening in the real world. And this is the case where they've done that. If you look at the plan, you'll see a wetland line that's delineated on the property, and then you'll see topographic lines as you approach from the wetland to the house, to the proposed house and to the existing house. And if you follow those contours, they've shown the floodplain to be at least 10 feet higher than the edge of the wetland. And it's not ever going to flood to that extent.
So in some areas along that wetland line, the FEMA map shows the floodplain possibly up to 10 feet beyond the dashed line.
They do. So the way I think I'm going to approach this is I'm going to file a letter of map amendment with FEMA and ask them to, revise that floodplain and bring it down probably essentially where the edge of the wetland is, because there's a pretty vast wetland area that goes with this site, and you know, the idea that this would flood 10 feet higher than the wetland is not at all realistic. I've gone through this process with FEMA, you know, a number of times over the years, and I've had similar situations to this, and they will, in all likelihood, revise it, and they'll give us a letter of map amendment that will say that, you know, the line's been revised for this particular property.
And when was the wetland line delineated?
The wetland line was delineated well, it was the winter, actually. I think it was February. And let me just see. I might have a note on the plan. No, I don't. But I believe it was February when we had the wetland delineation done.
But excuse me, I have a question then. With or without the amendment, the new lot and the site needs to be designed for proper drainage of the area, and it needs to be approved. But that's what we are not discussing that, but we're just saying that it's okay to have a common driveway, but condition to all the approvals. What exactly is the discussion tonight?
So,
No, go ahead, Stephanie. Sorry.
no, I was just going to ask Peter if you would like me to respond. So one of the requirements or standards for a common driveway is that the common driveway, let's see, I just had it, shall not disrupt existing drainage patterns. So as Mr. Gallagher just mentioned, he hasn't shown the grading on here. So he hasn't shown how the drainage will not be interrupted as a result of the project.
Yep,
So
So-
we cannot vote on that until we get satisfied with some kind of design that shows exactly what you're asking for.
Yeah. Well, let me just see if this helps lend some clarity. The existing driveway is what we're asking to use. We're asking you to approve the existing driveway as a common driveway. It's, you know, existing. The grading is already in existence. We're not proposing to change any of that. So really, given that it's an existing driveway, I think we're really meeting that condition of not changing the drainage patterns, because this isn't a proposed common driveway. It's an existing driveway that we're asking to use as a common driveway for a second lot.
Well, but you're adding an extension off of that driveway. I mean, I think the requirements of the bylaw require that you include it even says it, the existing and proposed topography at 2-foot contour intervals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is when you have all this set,
Mm-hmm.
you need to comply, and we don't have that. We don't have anything that tells us that you are complying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then I can add that to the plan and submit a revision to you. It would mean, I guess, carrying this hearing over to another meeting, but I can certainly do that.
Yeah, I think just given the FEMA considerations and the importance of the special permit, we should follow the requirements of the bylaw
Yep.
For this.
Mhm.
And okay, and yeah, if you have the the wetlands delineation report that might have come along with whatever points they gave you, that might be interesting to at least just
Okay.
look at.
I can submit the report from the person who did the wetland delineation if you'd like.
Yeah, And I just have a question. I'm just along. I tried to look this up on Google Maps, and I didn't make it over there in my car, so my bike. So what's in the front of the say like the existing lot one? Is it vegetated or?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I look at the street view of this property, and it's very dense foliage in front. You don't see anything. So,
Right, that's what I thought. That's what I saw too. So it's not really part of maybe the application, but is the lot one kind of the plan to keep it the same for now, or I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
Mr.
guess
Chair?
this is another issue. It's more form over substance, but I assume there'll be some sort of, some sort of covenant in the deed that both property owners will maintain this shared driveway in perpetuity.
We do have that, but I think looking at Stephanie's report, I believe that there's more that we need to submit in that regard. Am I right, Stephanie? It looks like number 3 was in your report was asking for a restrictive covenant easement.
Well, it's one of such documents, so we need to see a draft of the restrictive covenant easement or other such equivalent legal document that demonstrates what Mr. Stetson just said, that the two owners are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the common driveway.
Yes, and so we can submit that as well. I'm just, I know we did submit a document to you. I just want to go in and check it real quick. So we did submit a common driveway and utility easement, a document that addresses that at least. But I guess we still need to submit some kind of a covenant and I guess an HOA, because the two homeowners here would have to have something in place that would,
Bind
spell
them.
out how they jointly maintain the driveway. So
It wouldn't have to be an HOA, I don't think. I mean, if the restrictive covenant applies to both lots, or if there's a deed restriction that accomplishes the same thing, I don't think an HOA is necessary.
okay.
See it a lot, but
Mhm.
I don't think that's required.
Okay.
Right, and if
Stephanie,
I
is
could-
there a restricted? There was an easement included. I'm sorry, I just didn't see.
I didn't see it when I was doing my report, so I don't know if it was uploaded sometime after the original application. We do have, so the board may remember the project on Lincoln Street, which was, I think it was just one additional house. There was an existing house, but they created a road. It's Avery Lane over off Lincoln Street, and they needed, something that bound the two owners, and they did it like a restrictive covenant through the deed without having to do the homeowners association. So Frank, we can send you a copy of that. It was prepared by Mr. Adams' attorney.
Okay. All right. That would be great. So then what I need to do is to show you some grading and, address the drainage pattern issue, right?
Yep. And then Stephanie, the location of the house is going to kind of depend on maybe like the distance from the wetlands. Is that how that works?
Well, so if I could talk to that for a minute, because right now, and what Mr. Gallagher is saying is correct, that where a floodplain has not been established by survey, frequently it doesn't align with the topography of the land, and it's kind of misplaced, because my understanding of how they determine how FEMA has determined those areas that aren't established by survey is they look at topographical maps, and they look at aerials, they look at where the water body is, and they make a determination, kind of a best guess.
I mean, if they're off by 10 feet in this one spot, and in general, that's not bad considering it's a pretty big country, right? But yeah.
Yeah. So, but it will still need it. I guess you can go through the letter of map amendment process and then do a request for determination of applicability with the Conservation Commission, Frank.
Okay.
I would check. I know that Jen Carlino made a comment on Permit Eyes, and her belief at this moment is that this would be subject to review by the Conservation Commission. I just did a quick check, and it looks like, no, the house is within the 100-foot buffer zone. So it looks like you still will need to go to the Conservation Commission.
We would. You know, I read through the floodplain overlay district section of the zoning, and it's I guess section 47 of 235, and as I read through it, there's a number 4. Let me just see. Well, there's a a number 4, and it deals with zone A's, which this is.
Mm-hmm.
The zone A, because FEMA hasn't given a specific elevation that,
Mm-hmm.
they say, okay, it floods up to elevation 40 or something. They haven't given a specific elevation. They've just shown an area on the map and called it a zone A. So no elevation's been determined. And number 4 in that section of the zoning says, within a zone A at any location where the 100-year base flood elevation is not specifically delineated, and no base flood elevation or floodway data is available from any federal or state agencies, it says the base flood elevation shall be developed by a registered professional engineer, assuming 7 inches of rainfall on a watershed over a 24-hour period. So I guess when I read that, I wondered if that essentially means I or some engineer makes a determination on what the elevation would be and presents it to this board. Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay.
That yes, you can do that, and you can certainly do that through the Conservation Commission process too, which I think that the Wetlands Protection Act has some similar condition or standard, but you would need to demonstrate that, and then we'd need to peer review it to ensure that.
Yeah, it's really just that
regulations-
almost say in any of those cases, then you're going to end up filing with the Conservation Commission anyway. So we kind of combine that process so that you're not don't have like 2 wetland things, one going on with the planning board and one going on with conservation, right? It hopefully makes it easier for
Right.
All right. So that's, I guess, just correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really going to be a separate process from this one, this approval for a special permit for a common driveway. Is that correct? I don't
right,
have to go through that.
because those FEMA guidelines are like tied directly into the zoning bylaws. So, and if you have to file with the conservation and haven't even gone through the FEMA process, things might change so much that it would be kind of might not be the best time for us to spend more time on approving the common driveway itself until, you can update the topo if you want and bring it in, but you'll still have so much going on that if it doesn't change at all, that would be pretty improbable. Just from our experience over the years.
Yeah. Well,
Peter, can I ask a question of Mr. Gallagher?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to get assurance that the board would grant the special permit before going through the process of the flood? Because I think as Peter's pointing out, you could continue this, you could have it, this application open while going to the Conservation Commission to get concurrence with your proposed floodplain delineation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if there were no wetlands and no floodplain involved, we probably would have approved it. Well, very possibly approved it tonight had you had your plan ready with the topo and everything. But that's obviously not the case. So, I mean, in general, for me, you know, the common driveway fits the criteria. It just has some technical issues there with the wetlands.
Mhm.
Yeah, and once we get the topo, I mean, we would typically get fire to look at this, right, Stephanie?
Yep. Yeah.
And that has, I didn't see that in the notes that had happened.
No, they have not weighed in, and I have to keep remembering that we need to prompt them. They've got a little bit of a staffing change going on over there, so they're not always right on.
I mean, but whatever.
They would probably want to see. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Robert.
Sorry, Peter.
No, I was just saying if it helps, if for some reason you feel like you need the common driveway approval with a bunch of contingencies, I mean, I guess we, you know, the other board members and I would consider that, kind of knowing that there's a good chance it's going to change and you'll have to come back anyways.
I mean, you know, I don't mind speaking frank. I mean, obviously, we haven't heard from the public, and that's part of this process. But given what I've seen here in the location, I mean, it seems to make some sense. This is more form stuff from what I would gather.
Yep.
That's how I'm looking at the situation.
Yeah, just I guess the common driveway part of this, it would seem pretty straightforward to me. It's, it meets those conditions that are spelled out in that section of the bylaw. Having that floodplain overlay, I guess, maybe complicates it further. But if you take that away and you just look at it from that section of the bylaw that deals with common driveway.
Yeah, so if you feel like they can demonstrate that the common driveway, including the new portion of the new driveway, won't change the drainage patterns, we'll consider it. We're not going to say don't come back until you have FEMA and Conservation Commission wrapped up, but I guess think about it and figure out how you can best demonstrate that to us without turning it into a big deal.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to just try to work my way through that common driveway process if it's possible.
Excuse me, it's not a common driveway, it's common driveway plus additional driveway. It's the two things together that we are talking about. And both of them needs to be looped on one single design and one single proof that you are not disturbing the flow as it is today, and it meets the requirements. And so it's not just the common driveway part, but it's also the other driveway. I will assume that the other one that you are adding, the loop from it, it will be a driveway only for that tenant, for that owner, right?
Right.
So it is the common driveway plus the private driveway. Both of them needs to come to us with a demonstration that flow will be okay and we are not disturbing and making some changes that will cause problems.
Okay.
Yep, yeah. So if you want to give that a shot, we'll just continue to whenever you think you'll be ready.
All right. Well, when is your next meeting?
August
The next
14th.
meeting is the 24th, Peter.
Okay.
July 24th?
Yep, yeah, we can always keep it on the agenda, and if you need to continue, that's not a big
All right. Yeah. Yes, please, if I could.
Okay. Does anyone else or any members of the public have any questions in the chat or their?
Well, do we want to open it up to the public now, or do we want to just continue, Peter, when we've got more information?
No, yeah, that makes more sense. Just to have more information than move on, because we just need a little more information in order for everyone to start really making a decision here, right? Right. That's fine with me, Robert.
I'll make a motion to continue to the next hearing on the 24th. Stetson.
Kevin, second.
All in favor? Stetson?
Aye.
Kadam?
Aye.
Duchesne, aye. All right.
Hey,
Thank you,
thank you
Frank.
very much.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
see you soon. You're welcome. Okay, 402 Turnpike Street, site plan review, Leandro's Restaurant. And this is for outdoor dining. Oh, hello. Please introduce yourself, your name and your addresses, names and addresses for the record.
Hi, this is Ismail Leandro from 402 Turnpike Street, Southeastern.
Hey, for the record, my name's Bob Rigo. I'm with Riverhawk Environmental. We're here tonight with the Manny from Leandro's Restaurant and another representative to present the project.
Okay, yeah, well, tell us what you're doing, and if you have the capability to share your screen, if applicable,
Okay,
that'll be great.
I will share my screen right now and hopefully pop up. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. We're here tonight. This is an existing restaurant at 402 Turnpike Street, Leandro's Restaurant. It's currently a 99-seat restaurant. It has about 52 parking spaces in the existing parking lot. It has a kind of an entry drive on the southern portion of the property, which is here, and then an exit drive out on the northern side. I was gonna move to the other screen to show you the existing conditions better. I'm sorry. So there's the existing entrance drive in here, angled parking. There's angled parking around the perimeter of the site, the central portion of the site, and then an exit out over an easement area on this portion of the property over here on the northerly portion, back onto Turnpike Street. We're proposing to do a patio area on the northern, what was formerly the exit out of the site. It's the paved access out. We're proposing to put 66-seat patio in this vicinity on the northerly side of the restaurant. That particular area was already used as a patio seating area during COVID. So it was operational under those kind of emergency provisions of COVID to allow for the outdoor seating. We're proposing to make that more permanent feature of the restaurant. The total number of seats for the restaurant is 99. It would remain 99. So although there's 66 seats on the exterior patio, those would kind of flex depending on the weather, I guess, where there'd still be a total of 99 seats available on any one night, and some could be in and some could be out depending on the weather. We're proposing to affect the patio. We're proposing to concrete walls along two sides of the patio, with a concrete paver patio underneath, and then an existing fence and hedge line on the northerly portion of the project. Proposing to remove the pavement and add some landscaping, mulch, and some kind of boulders to prevent access in and out of this entrance. And then we're proposing to realign the entry and exit driveway a little bit. So now it would be slightly reshaped to be a 24-foot throat with a 15-foot curb radii at the entrance to allow for a safe entry and enter and exit over here at this location. We're proposing to basically restripe the parking lot to be a little more configured so there's better flow throughout the parking lot with 24-foot aisle widths and basically a 10-foot by 20-foot wide, 20-foot long space. And this configuration results in 52 spaces. Proposing to readjust the existing handicap parking. The current spaces don't really have an aisle in between them. So we're proposing an 8-foot aisle, which would make it meet the ADA and Mass Architectural Board requirements. And I think that's kind of the general overview of the project, and I'll turn it back to the board.
Okay. Stephanie, I think you had a few comments in the notes.
I do. Mr. Rigo mentioned the 99 seats, and both the Zoning Board of Appeals, when they issued the permit for the outside dining, conditioned that no more than 99 seats should ever be allowed at any point in time. And the Board of Health commented that 99 seats is also prefaced by, or the result of the fact that the septic system is only designed for 99 seats. Another comment, which I did not have in my report, the applicant did provide documentation that the area of a portion of the outdoor dining exists on the abutting property, which the subject property benefits from an easement. And the language was such that it talked about access and use. And my question is the abutting property owner aware that they're putting up this dining which will limit completely access by the abutter to that portion of the land? And I do see someone has their hand raised. I don't know who Mr. Basapolo is.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair?
not sure. It's my understanding that the property owner, the adjacent property owner, does know that it is to be converted to a outdoor dining. Like I said, it was previously used for that during the period of COVID, and it was also is allowed for, the easement is very general. It allows for just more than access and egress. It allows for any use that Leandro's property would use as part of their business. So the easement is a little more generalized than your typical.
And that's attached, for the record, that's attached to the application?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Has the recorded easement been uploaded to Permit Eyes under this application?
I believe it has. Is that correct?
It has, yes.
Okay, well, I haven't read it, but that makes sense to me. What about for the landscaping? The new landscaping, say, in front of the patio? What's the idea for that?
Just planting a tree. I'm not a landscape architect, but I drew in. It's basically going to be a mulched area with flowers and one central tree. I'm just proposing, because of the sight lines and stuff, a Japanese maple at this point to be put in there.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you don't want to really block the sign too much, but just make it look nice. That makes sense. And I guess I see the curb cut here on the proposed plan. Is that the exact same as the old one, or is that kind of been?
It's been reconfigured. The areas of you can see how there's some brown hatch in there. That's to show kind of mulched areas. That's realignment of the existing curbs will kind of be slid over slightly to the south, and then realigned to be a larger radius on the both north and south.
Okay, and then what's that wavy parallelogram in front of the sign? It looks like kind of like on the
probably right here.
No, off to the left about an inch on the screen. No, right near the road.
Right near the road.
Yeah, that thing.
there's just a little, this is all grass here. So this is a landscape bed right in here. And then grass all around the sign, and then another landscape bed. And we're just, the brown is just where we're extending those landscape beds. So, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Board members, do you have any questions?
I mean, I just did look at the easement. I'm not sure I interpret it as broadly as Mr. Rigo. I wouldn't mind seeing a letter of support from the owner. That would be useful to me.
Yep. Otherwise, Robert, the layout, is this, do you have any suggestions for the layout or?
No, I like it. I think it's very thoughtful, and I think it makes sense. And we've got a track record of approving, for the outdoors for people that had this during COVID. So with that, I think, that's my only issue.
What do you guys think about, like, say now that there's just one entrance, are entrances, like, if it's going to be the entrance and the exit at the same time, are there sometimes kind of like some like lines or anything that helps guide like where you go in and where you go out? Or is it just common sense?
Generally, with a 24-foot wide, it does kind of become a little bit of common sense, but we could certainly put a stop line that's half the distance of the entrance, and write stop behind it, so it kind of will define what the entry portion is and what the exit portion
Yeah.
is.
And especially maybe now just because it's like new in a sense, and some people may have been going to this location
Used
one
to
form or another for 50 years, right? And it's a busy road at the same time, so
Absolutely.
whatever you think there, you probably know better than we do what exactly would be.
Yep. No, that's a great idea.
Should we have directional marks on the pavement for directions for the cars coming in, going through, even on the area of the parking, that help people navigate the parking a lot better, avoid fender benders?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Markings on the pavement for directionals.
Oh, yes.
Arrows, lines, etc. Signs, entrance, exit, whatever you need in order to guide your customers to avoid problems on this area from the point of view of, I think you need to add that to the plan.
Right. So, Peter, that was one of, I didn't state that specifically in my report. I did note that they did not have arrows indicating at the front entrance, as Amos is mentioning, marked on the pavement, showing the ingress and the egress. So showing the directional. I think the question about whether, people would be used to it, because now it's kind of a free-for-all pulling in. And again, I think a lot of people exit through the northern exit. So I think those lines would just be a visual cue for people to stay in their lane.
Yep. Yeah, I think Mr. Regal kind of gets the idea of what we're talking about here. Right.
Absolutely.
And then, Peter, another question I had is they show the handicapped parking at the rear of the building. It happens to be quite close, over behind, I don't know what that structure is off the side. It looks like a structure, but anyway, it's close to the patio. However, there's no entrance from the patio. So how would customers who are using the handicap parking get to the outside dining? And how do they get to the entrance of the?
There was a door back there, but go ahead, sir.
Sure. If I may, there's an existing door in a handicap right through here to the rear part of the restaurant. So I just spoke with Manny Leandro, and we would modify this so both handicapped and non-handicapped people, patrons, could access over this. This would be handicapped accessible route to the patio. So they could either go through the handicapped accessible route into the restaurant directly, or they could go to the patio area directly. So I will modify that on the plans to show that as a handicapped accessible route.
Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
Yes, yes, it does.
I have another question. I don't know what the hours operation is, but especially fall and winter, is there any lighting that will be added, or there is lighting for this parking lot and the area and the restaurant?
I, Manny can probably answer that better than I.
Yep, go ahead.
So, yes, it is lighting over there. So, like the parking lot is already existing, and all the light is required. It's by the code, and it's standard. And I think what Bob did with the parking lot was just asking to reline them, but it's lining on the parking lot. It's 40 lining normally, and that wouldn't be changed or anything because like the place is operation right now, and you haven't had any issue with lining. We try to upkeep everything so up the standards.
Wait. Okay, I get the lights. Are you saying that you don't want to add any lines to the front?
Now I say that we don't need to add anything because the way that is right now is already lining. I have plenty line over there, but if that one of those required to adding more light to outside patio, I would definitely can do it. But I think the question the gentleman was doing was more about the parking lot. If it was lighting on the parking lot, and the parking lot putting light, we do have the two.
Yeah, I think Amos was just more asking about the dining area. Is that correct, Amos?
No, I mentioned the parking lot as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm mentioning.
I think what they're saying is that the parking lot works fine, and it hasn't there haven't been any problems, so it's not really part of the change here. But I mean, I haven't been back there at night that recently, but it always was fine. I mean,
Yeah, the question is there any change, additions, or improvements? That was the question.
Actually, it's not any change at this moment, and we do have lights on the side where the parking, where we trying to do the parking. The patio right now. Even we was doing that during the COVID with the lights that we already have outside, and that worked fine for us during the COVID. But like it's again, if it's needed to adding couple more over there, which I think is not needed, we more to help to like provide that.
Well, you need to consider the neighbor on that side.
The neighbor actually just responded in the chat that he says, "I am the trustee at Derek Vespolo. I am the trustee at 398 Turnpike Street. I understand about the outdoor dining. I have no problem with the outdoor dining." So I'm assuming, Derek, does that, you can type away if you want, but does that include the lighting as it is now? Again, well, he says lighting is fine.
Okay.
Good. Cool. Robert,
that answers my questions. Then I'm satisfied by that.
Okay. Q&A was just Robert. Sorry, Derek. Do any members of the public have any questions or comments about this outdoor dining proposal? I don't see. I don't know. Can I see hands raised here, Stephanie? Oh, if
You can't. I mean, you saw Mr. Vasapolo. I don't see any other hands raised.
Nope, right. I don't always have the attendees up. Nope, there are none. So, however you guys, we want to just, if we were to make a motion to approve this, would we ask for any changes to the plan before it? I'll just go with this plan.
Well, there is a motion to close the public hearing.
This is just a site plan review, right, Stephanie? It's not a.
Yes.
Yeah. So we don't really have to close it. The next step would be, unless we want to ask for more information or wait for an updated plan, would be to actually approve this application, either as is or with a couple conditions, and then they can come back and just, we can approve it, and they could make a few modifications to the plan. That's going to end up, getting filed for the record.
The only one I can remember was the issue of the arrows going in.
Right, and the fire department was fine with this, right? I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, the
Upon
access, the access for the handicap and the people from the back.
Tomas, do you want to make the motion with those two conditions? I'll second it.
Okay, motion to approve the plan in condition that a revised plan is submitted with directionals for traffic and the modification of the entrance on the back of the restaurant near the handicap parking.
Second, Stetson.
All in favor, Kidham? Kidham, are you in favor?
Hi.
Okay, Stetson.
We're
Aye.
too fast.
DeShane, aye. All right, that passes. Just please update the plan and upload it for Stephanie. And thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye. Cool. All right. We have Old Forge Commons on the agenda again. This time for architectural review, lot number 16 and number 9.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay. Goodbye. Just as a side note here, I did meet with the project owner to review the current state of the tree cutting plan, and it goes along with what we talked about. Between the lots and a few parts of the project, they have to raise the land by about 4 feet due to stormwater, and between the houses, that would kind of eliminate the possibility to save a few trees along there. But they're following along with what we've talked about, so that's good. All right, hello, please introduce yourself for the record.
Bill Humphrey, the developer of Old Forge Commons.
Okay, thank you. I have a few plans to show us. Would you like to share your screen? Would you like maybe the planning director the planning economic water issues to share? Sorry.
Peter, the general has to handle this. I'm
Okay.
not computer literate like Stephanie, sorry. Thanks, Stephanie. So this is lot 16. Oops.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let's
That's
see.
okay.
What did I do here? I'm trying to,
You can
Yeah,
check your
quick
email.
fingers.
That's okay.
Quick fingers, Stephanie.
no, I'm trying to, I have too many things open. And now I need to get back here. There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah,
There
that
you
happens to me all the time. All right. It means we're
So
the
the first page,
screen shares, so we're making things happen.
my architects, the first page, they show this. You have to go to the second page where all the called out features of the plan. That's just the way CME is. So there you go. So as you go to the front elevation, why aren't we seeing the front elevation? There we go. So they give the height as you required, the height, and then they call out all the windows, roofing, siding, trim, garage doors. Everything's called out as on all the other houses that I'm doing in there. So you'll see there's standing seam metal roofs, board and bat vertical siding, vinyl siding, the Clopay Coachman doors, the nice garage doors that I use, the 4/1 on the windows. House is 2,800 square feet. It's the maximum that's allowed in there. So I have two houses coming for you. This is lot 16. You can see
What about, how about the porch columns? What are those, or posts? whatever?
those are fiberglass ones, composite decking, fiberglass, and standing seam.
So it's like fiberglass that looks like kind of like wood when you paint it. You can't really tell. the
Yeah.
difference.
So
Doesn't
not to
feel-
be
Oh, go ahead.
never
Stephanie.
mind. I was looking at the wrong arrow.
There's a lot of arrows up there.
There are.
Yep.
Okay, do you want me to move to the second one or?
And the garage doors are going to look like.
So they're the carriage house doors, Peter.
Mhm.
So they're the
Okay.
ones that are, so I have three or four different styles on there. Some have double, that's a double cross buck that you see there.
Yep.
Some are single, which go inverted on some of the plans, some are outverted. This one here is a double cross buck. And you'll see the windows, they're oversized windows in the garage, those Clopay. They were a real nice garage door, very expensive. But they put a
Nice.
PPT overlay on them. They're a real nice door.
Yep. Could we look at the other, maybe look at the other sides of the house quickly?
This side?
Oh, yeah, we saw that one. Okay.
So that's the south side there.
Mhm.
Let me see.
Sometimes people just show
Oh, this
putting
side.
out any
Here we
windows
go.
on the sides, and I think, are you really not putting windows on the side?
Yeah.
Looks like you got some
This
windows
one's
there.
so this house has sort of a cape on the side appeal, but in the front it has the farmer's porch design.
Mhm.
But you can see there, 4/1 windows.
Mhm.
Calling
Now,
out the
this
depth
is
and
not
height.
one of the walkout basement. Right?
No. This is not one of those the ones that we walked the first three lots,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6 are the walkouts. This is lot
Yeah.
16.
Right.
This is
Yeah,
the
these
biggest.
are kind of ready to go if once.
This is the biggest lot in the subdivision, by the way. This one's like 26,000. It's house is sort of set back off the street about 95 feet. This is the bigger lot. Pretty house.
Yep. Yeah.
Standing
Okay,
seam
that's all
roofs.
four sides. Amos, do you have any questions or suggestions on that? Oh, are you muted? Well, for one reason or another, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Okay, who are we?
Oh, Amos.
Is it?
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. I can't see because there's it says the participant and has enabled closed captioning is.
I know, I don't know what that, well,
I've seen that. It's been on my screen.
Okay.
So mine
Oh.
says a participant has been enabled
Yeah.
closed captioning. I've never
You
seen
can
this.
actually, it's actually on our own screens. We can just hit that little X over to the right. I just did it now.
Okay.
I can see you guys
We'll
again.
do.
on which I tried and I
I'm
didn't.
trying.
Oh,
Mine just did it. Mine shut it.
yeah. It's over. You have to kind of hover. It was kind of right to the left of the R and Robert for me, and then I got it. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I didn't know what the heck it was.
Maybe it's like this. Well, obviously it's an option. So.
I can't figure it out.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just move on. We can talk about these both together. Amos, is that okay with you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Let's look at the next one.
So the next one is lot number 9,
Okay, wait a minute.
which is almost directly across the street. When I build subdivisions, I always start deep inside and then I work my way out.
Yep.
That's
so
what
these
I've
go
been
down the
trying
end
to
there, right?
market.
Yeah, okay.
So this is lot number 9 here. So standing seam metal roof on the front, Clopay doors. Now this is what I told you on the garage doors. You see how this is not double cross buck. It's a single buck with the line going on the inside on the garage doors. And board and batten siding up on top, 4/1 windows, carriage house front door, farmer's porch like all the other houses. Every house in there is farmer's porches, by the way.
Yep.
That's the look I'm trying to create there. This house is this is a smaller house, obviously you can tell by the picture. So this one's about 2,100 square feet, where the other one was 2,800 square feet. Younger couple for this house here, which is nice. I'm getting a good mix in there. I'm getting all different ages in there. I'm getting people in their 30s, people in their 40s, 60s. I'm getting a nice mix in there.
Right, and it's still not inexpensive. It's just not as expensive as it would be if it were
Oh, Peter, if this was a regular subdivision, you would not see anybody in their 30s in there unless they were very lucky. So, but this is, so far I've got 3 couples in there that are in their 30s, which is that's a nice thing to see in Easton.
Cool. All right, and are those, what are those things down the bottom? Are those roof drains that you're showing there? Or those are footings?
No, those are the footings, yeah.
Yeah, but you're doing roof drains on these, right?
Everything has roof drains, all the houses.
Yeah.
And I do those, when you guys go out, if you ever go out there, before I start the frame, I have the roof drains installed. So we do all the excavation up front. We do the roof drains, water.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, who wants to put in one of those? Yeah, one of those plastic things, whatever. Later on, right? That would mess it all up. So yeah.
You do it. You get it out of the way now. Get everything out of the way now. Yep.
The roof drains is dry walls or you?
Dry wells.
Dry
Dry-
wall.
Yeah, dry wells. Yeah, yeah.
Sounds good. All right. I don't have any questions. Or is that a porch over there on the back?
No.
On the second floor?
On the second floor, no. Nope.
No, it's just what is that? Over on the left, right? That shaded out rectangle. Yeah.
Oh, that's just
It's
so.
in need of-
That's
Oh,
just a
that's
shed-
that's
shed
like
door.
a bump out in the house. That's like a bathroom.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yep, yep.
Okay.
That's what it is.
You go to the detail of external lighting on these houses, or you?
So what I'm trying to create, so on all the garage doors, can we go to the, okay, so on the garage doors, I'm putting a light over the garage doors, like a farmer's light, it comes over and hangs down. And then all the farmer's porches have recessed lights. So that everything shines down, nothing shining out. So over every garage door, there will be a light hanging down. They will all be the same.
If I'm not mistaken, Bill, you showed those lights on.
I did.
20 on the.
I have those in the
Or
subdivision
ultra
plan.
house.
Yeah.
Definitely, I have
so
those in the
sticking with that
subdivision.
theme of the lights, and they're all dark sky compliant, and so
Yeah,
the young families, kids will see a few stars for the next 20 years at least, right? Yeah, that's good.
yeah, that would be nice.
Right.
Yeah, so all the farmers' porches have no lights in the front of the house. Everything's shining down, and over the garage doors are the lights that are mimicking the street lighting of the subdivision that I've put before you guys.
Okay. Amos, any other?
No more questions.
Nothing new in the Q&A. Anything in the participant section? Nope. All right. Well, Amos, you're the only option here to make a motion, I guess, unless I will if I have to. Wait from precedent that fast, although I probably have in a few words. But yeah.
Yeah, motion to approve the architectural review for all Forge comments. Lot
Okay.
16 and 9.
Okay. Second, Deshane. All in favor? Kadem?
I
Okay, Deshane, aye. Okay, those architectural plans look good, and we passed those. So
Thanks, guys.
yeah, looks like you're still here for another item, which is
Can't get rid of me, Peter.
some release, surety release. Hey, how's the that access to the public access to the land in the back? That's still planned, right?
It is, but it's still under construction. I haven't done the trees yet. It's still early. Still a little early. So all the detention basin work is done because you don't get any traffic there. But I'm still working in that cul-de-sac. You go in there and it's machines all over the place.
Oh yeah.
It won't be till next year.
No, yeah, it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
great time to walk your dog out there right now, anyways. I don't think so.
It's mucky.
yeah.
Yeah, the rain is not being our friend right now, but
Okay.
we're all right. We're okay in there.
Yep. Good. So what are you? I didn't read it, so just Stephanie, do you want to start?
On the request for
Oh.
surety.
Yeah, I'll just I'll
Yep.
officially introduce this for the rest of the people here. This
Yep.
is Old Forge Commons request to release partial surety.
Okay, so we had Patrick Brennan, who has been doing our student inspection reports for a number of years now, go out and do a site inspection. He put a road cost estimate together for the remaining work that needs to be completed. I have in your packet both the original road cost estimate that he did when Mr. Humphreys first started the project and put his cash surety up, and then the report that was done on June 8th. It shows the remaining work to be $168,000, and Mr. Humphrey is requesting $103,000 be returned to him at this point in time.
Okay, is this information kind of listed out in one of these reports here?
Yes.
In front of us?
If you scroll
Oh,
past the last page
I
of
found it,
architectural.
6/8/23.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have. And these are the items that are still outstanding.
Yeah.
And looks like there are 21 items.
Yeah.
And like you said, subtotal 168.40, escalation at 10% a year. And the idea here is to release this surety, releasing surety, not lots, right?
Correct.
And was
Correct.
that
Mr.
was that
Humphrey
cash or
put
bond?
up, it's cash. He put up full cash,
Mhm.
which allowed the board to release all the lots.
Yep.
And so we would still be holding cash.
So he's looking for us to release, or the town treasurer to release all but 223,661.
Correct.
All right. Hamas, do you get the gist of that? Do you need us, you like anyone to share their screen? No, you good?
I'm good. So motion to approve a partial release of the surety for all forged comments for the amount of, what was that the amount?
$103,000, $103,752.
What you said.
Okay, second. All in favor? Kato.
Aye.
DeShane, aye. Motion passes. All right.
I did the on those detention basins too, by the way, guys. I've been mowing them.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, huh?
Yeah, they're doing that. They're doing wonderful. I know it's been a good spring. It hasn't been too hot. It's been very wet. Then we get the heat. It's really coming in nice. They're both beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if I were that's good, right? Yeah. If I were shopping for a home, I'd want to see that the detention basins were, being maintained as.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We have to mow them weekly. They're growing so quick. We got to mow them weekly.
Yeah, I bet. Right. Yeah, those things would be overgrown.
It's good. It's good.
The weed whacker or something. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Good night and good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Let me go back to the agenda. Where it went. Sorry about that. Robert, you may rejoin if you choose to.
523 Foundry Street.
Yeah. I don't know how I clicked off.
I'm back.
That bad, but I'll get back there. Okay, we have preliminary discussion. Preliminary means that no formal plans or applications have been presented. It's solely a preliminary discussion. For 523 Foundry Street, special permit mixed use, preliminary discussion, WJA Property Development LLC.
Okay.
Okay.
There is some detail here.
But I was going to say, we do have a concept plan that Mr. Adams provided.
So, yeah, I thought of that after I said that.
Would you like me to read the narrative first, or are you okay with that?
First, you have to state your name and address for the record, please.
Put the plan up first? Okay.
Nope, state your name and address for the record.
My name is William J. Adams. I am the owner of WJA Property Management LLC, and I'm the developer and the owner of this. Well, I'm not the owner yet. I'm proposing to be the owner.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, you want to tell us about it, or do you want to start?
Yes.
Tell us about it first.
Okay. I wrote a narrative and I addressed it to the chairman and the board members. And I want to say thank you for the opportunity to request a special permit to allow for the development and operation of a mixed-use building with a combination of retail stores and residential units as allowed by the current zoning regulations. And I referenced the Apex H-2. I don't know if you want me to go through all of that, but
nope, that's okay.
Okay. So then, the project will consist of 4 to 5 retail units on the first floor. They can be office, retail, commercial, any one of those three is allowed. And then it will be 11 residential apartments on the second and third floor. One of the residential apartments will be mixed use. The units right now consist of, we're still in the preliminary drafting of them, but it'll be 3 1-bedrooms, 5 2-bedroom units, and 3 3-bedroom units. With the one, we haven't designated which one is the affordable yet. The 5 retail units will be approximately 1,000 to 1,500 square feet each. And as I said, there'll be mixed commercial, retail, and business space. And we're hoping to attract local business to the area. The build out of the interior for these commercial units will be based on the tenants' needs, their requirements. I feel that this 523 Foundry Street proposed mixed unit will benefit the community by adding housing to the area, improving the overall rundown look of that particular property and some of the other areas, bringing new businesses, adding jobs to the community without any environmental negative impact. It'll also benefit the town of Easton's need for 1 and 2-bedroom apartments, reducing the state requirement by one of the affordable units, and increasing an annual tax revenue per year. I plan on developing the property, building it, and managing it. Our ability to develop and manage and control 100% of the building and grounds will add to the Furnace Village District vision. And I think that's my narrative.
Thank you. Well, let's look at that plan. Who would like to share? Would your engineer like to share the screen here? Or,
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes, please.
Hi there, Walter Hermano joining in. Thank you for having me. I would like to try and share my screen now. Where is it? Don't see it. I just had it open. Where are we?
You want me to bring the plan up, Alda?
If you could, Bill, I'm not seeing
The site plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Share screen.
Yep. While you're doing that, are there any wetlands involved in this application?
There were no wetlands identified on the property. The applicant had botanists go up there and assess the site and determine that there were no wetlands involved.
Okay. So it's possible. It's not like just it's not kind of guaranteed. It's not obvious that there are none, but there could be some right out there.
All right. Did that come over? No.
No.
Wait a minute.
Share the application. You're trying to share a screen. Share the application.
Okay, Mr. Chair, would you like me to share my screen?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Thanks for trying there. There we go.
All right. Can
That
you
was-
see that?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so you have a.
This is in front, exactly in front of the restaurant.
Okay. Yep.
Shall I begin?
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. Currently, the current use is a dentist's office on 523 Foundry. That building is situated somewhat within this footprint of the proposed building. The proposed building, as Bill has explained, it's a mixed use. 3 floors. First floor will be business commercial. Second and third floor will be residential dwelling units. 11 total, of which 1 would be affordable. The building is proposed to be 65 by 125 feet in length total. We're utilizing the existing entrance down here. We have 2-way traffic proposed around the building. The width of the travel lane is 11 feet times 2 for a total of 22. We have ample parking along the front, sides, rear of the property. There's currently about 33 required spaces. If I get the number right, we're proposing 42. We have handicap and fire lane proposed in the front of the building, as well as in the back of the building. We have landscaped islands on the corners of the building, as well as there could be some proposed outdoor patio dining proposed for this corner and maybe this corner. We've adequately landscaped the front and sides of the building. We also have some landscaping proposed in the rear. Excuse me. We have dumpsters proposed in enclosed structures in the rear left and the rear right of the property. There'll be 2 in each enclosure, so a total of 4 to adequately serve the facility. The building will make use of existing utilities that are in Foundry Street, of which some of them are already coming into the property, namely the water, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I think there's a sewer stub also in Foundry Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a quick summary of the proposed project. We have not designed out the drainage yet, as this is a very preliminary phase. But drainage would be roof drainage, underground in this particular area, most likely over here. And for the remainder of the paved surfaces where it's required, will either be on the right side of the building or somewhere in the front over here, also as an underground infiltration basin. It will meet all the standards of the town bylaw and the state stormwater management handbook.
So what's the, how much is like impervious versus pervious proposed?
If we could go over to the table on the right, if we could slide the screen over. The building, out of recollection, is 15% coverage on the lot.
Right. And
I can't
I have
see
a few more questions, but Amos or Robert, would you like to start us off on this one?
How many tenants did you say in the ground floor?
4 to 5.
4 to 5. And what are you looking at for square footage of?
1,000 to 1,500.
Are they going to be accessed from front and back, or just front?
Well, that's what we're working out. We wanted the tenants to come through the back, but we may have the center of the property, because we're planning on putting an elevator in, and so we may need to come through the middle for that. So there may be an access from the front to the rear, but the tenants' designated parking is out back, and that's what we're hoping for them to do. That's what we're trying to.
I guess that gets to well. I guess my bigger, just again, first blush, first time I'm seeing the plans, but one thing that at least I've been interested in for this area is seeing some of these types of developments. I applaud you for bringing us a mixed use development. Thank you. But I think we are trying to have them a little bit closer to the road. And I mean, I guess I was just sort of wondering, what was the reason for adding so much pavement out front? I mean, it seems like you have enough room to have everything out back. We're striving for these walkable neighborhoods. What's your reaction to that comment?
Well, commercial tenants, if you're going to have a commercial tenant, people are going to come to that location, that store or that business. They're not going to park out back and walk to the front. They want to park right in front of the store where they're going to walk into, typically. I've built a lot of plazas, and we've had additional parking in the rear in some of our plazas, and nobody uses it. Some of the plazas I built don't have residential units there. It's all commercial, but everybody commercial parks out front, in front of the store they're going into or close to it. Now we have overflow on the right and the left, which is a short walk You know, if you're going to the right store and you park on the right side, it's only a short walk. If you added, if you move the building forward and get rid of the front parking spaces, I don't think you'd do any business. I think the stores wouldn't survive
Yeah.
that.
It might be though that you could move it up, you know, maybe closer to the say, you know, closer, and then maybe move it off to the, maybe off to like the east, right, where there's kind of an existing driveway on that side, and it would kind of make it not exactly symmetrical and move it up up a ways. And maybe, you know, I'm just trying to think of ways where this site plan could accomplish the same thing, but just somehow look better. It just looks like,
I mean, it's just if there's access on both sides, which was my first question, I'm not sure I follow the reasoning here.
If the businesses are there and they have deliveries, and like my other property I own down the road is Aroma Joe's, and the restaurant in there has deliveries 2 times a week, sometimes 3. And they pull up in the back of the building and they unload their products. If you only had one lane going around the property and you had residents trying to get in the back and they had a delivery truck there, they wouldn't be able to get by. It would create a traffic jam. So I made it so they can go either direction and the truck can park there for the deliveries. The deliveries are not a long time, but they could be 45 minutes. And if you don't have 2 lanes, you're going to cause a backup of traffic and unhappy people.
Yeah, I'm not really questioning the 2-lane issue. I mean, it's more, you know, again, we're striving for walkable neighborhoods here. I do applaud you bringing this to us, but I'm wondering why you can't move it up. I mean, there's a lot of pavement out front. I get it. You want people to park in a convenient manner, but if you're going to have access to the retail units both front and back, which makes sense and is not uncommon, then what difference does it make where the parking is?
And if I could add to that, Bob, I think if you move this down, one of the things you can do, you've got the parking. This is always, I've been looking at this for a week or so, and just having all this pavement right across the front, which again, I think this is a lot of what you're talking about, really has bothered me. Why couldn't you have an entrance and an exit over here?
2 curb cuts.
2 curb cuts. So you're not coming back out, like that would allow you to eliminate this. And the parking, you know, I hear all the time people, you have to have the parking up front. That has been proven that you don't have to. And if the parking's off to the side here and people can see it and they know there are businesses here, they'll park here. I understand that it may be less inviting when the parking is all in the rear and people can't figure it out, but.
If I may, I don't believe we're allowed the 2 curb cuts. I'm not sure if we could provide the adequate separation between the curb cuts and the property corners. I'm trying to go through the plan and regulations in my head, and I thought we had to remain with one means of egress and regress for this property. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I do understand the point of the entrance and an exit. You know, it would look nicer. If I'm wrong and, you know, we're allowed to do that, you know, that may be a possibility. To answer the previous question regarding moving the building forward, if we were to move the building forward and eliminate parking in the front here, at that point, if we have to stick with one entrance, we're putting the building right on the edge of, basically the edge of the drive. And we will have a sidewalk that remains, but it's 20 feet, which, you know, is not a lot of space, 20 feet to gain and bring it closer to the front of the building. Bring it closer to the front of the property line. It's only 20 feet.
well, yeah, So what, all right, then if it's only 20 feet, why can't you do it? What's like this compelling reason that that's not possible? It's just impossible to do 20 feet because it doesn't make a difference to you, or?
Well, I'm
Right,
concerned a little
yeah.
bit about the safety of having the two-way traffic only 5 feet off the building, and everybody maybe walking, trying to come in and out. Right
Well,
now,
that-
we have parking spaces where somebody will come in and they'll be stopped by a curb stop. So you have a little additional safety regarding pedestrians walking through the entrance of the building.
So that's another observation is where is the sidewalk coming in to the property and serving? Is this intended to be a sidewalk here? That doesn't look wide enough.
That's a good point, Stephanie. Right here, on the front left-hand corner of the building to the street, there's a proposed stripe area connecting the sidewalk.
This,
Yes.
yeah, but people who are walking from here are going to, they're going to want to cut through here.
Now, I show on the rendering, I added another cut through on this other side.
You talking on this?
I think it's the third page. Yeah, you see over there, there's a,
Cut through right there.
yeah. There's a couple crosswalks.
The other thing, and again, I think this is just adding on to what Bob's talking about. You have these apartments and very little green space for the residents to enjoy.
All right, that's partially, I mean, if we want mixed use, this is what's gonna happen, right? I mean, I agree. But
Well,
like something we can do to be creative with a plan, I mean.
Well, Peter, if the building moved forward towards the street,
Yeah.
and you eliminate the parking on the front, you are left with space on the back that can be landscape for.
Aside from, yeah, you know, I kind of felt the same way, and that's why I felt like if we kind of offset it a little bit, but I don't know if offsetting it like to one side or the other would help at all.
I still don't understand why this cannot have one entry and one exit.
No, well, we just have to look at the
Yeah, and I do
regulation
think,
for curb cut.
Mr. Hermano, I think Walter, and I think you had called me to ask about that separation between the entrances. And I do think it's 40 feet sounds about right, but it looks like you must have plenty of room to do that.
Right.
I don't have the regulations right in front of me.
I'll have to refer to the.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is preliminary, right? We can say we would much prefer that, you know, if that were an option, because it would allow Ed to move that building up. I mean, it's, you know, until we actually see what else you have, we're not gonna just, you know, but I would strongly suggest that if pretty much all three board members and, you know, and Stephanie have suggested that you would really think about it and maybe find a way that you can make that work with the project.
If I may add, I looked through the zoning requirements for green space for this district, and I could not find any other than 60% of the landscape and green space must be 60% of what is your landscaping and green space.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, we left it open so that we can kind of, we have options, right? We have options.
Special permit.
Doesn't mean that we're just gonna approve it because you say it's a good idea. It gives us options, and it's not just saying that you can max out this and max out that without listening to our ideas, because it's a special permit and we don't have to approve it if you don't want to.
Yep.
So that's why you work with us when we have ideas.
No, I appreciate that. I will. I'm just saying I tried to find the requirement, and I thought I met it. So.
Yeah, just trying to put it out there that, you know, we'll spend some time to work with you on this, and I think we can all come to an agreement on a plan that will look good and be good for the town, and kind of fulfill the objectives of this district that we've you know, laid out. So that's what we're doing here in the preliminary sense. Let's see if we have an attendee with a hand raised.
Okay.
Might be a good time to see what the attendees think. So it looks like Lisa Marie canceled her. Oh, go ahead.
No,
No, I was trying to unmute. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, yes. Hello,
Okay,
just introduce yourself, your name and your address for the record, please.
Lisa Marie Barker, 531 Foundry Street, Northeastern. We're the abutting property and the first residential property on the row. I'm interested to understand what the thinking is about landscape between this property and that home. There are a number of standing trees and landscape that exist there that are very close to the property line. And I wanted to hear the developer's ideas about not creating overlighting and influence of this building on that property.
Yep, that's a very good question. And I guess before the applicants respond, we might suggest that to leave those trees in place until we have a chance to, go for a site walk and get a little farther along any kind of process that might happen here. So would anyone like to, what are the ideas for that landscaping or trees for that area? Nope. Mr. Hermano or Adams?
Well, what's the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, so the currently treed area along the Barker's property,
the
western side. What do you have any ideas for some landscaping there, or maybe leaving some of the existing vegetation in place?
Well, the existing vegetation that's there is a lot of down trees that are there's a giant oak tree in the back that's falling down. It's half down, and there's a bunch of trees that are down. My plan was to put up some type of a fence with a landscaping buffer for the neighbors behind it, and maybe build a berm in the back just to keep the fence up a little higher, and it could be landscaped and made to look very nice and give them some privacy and give privacy to the residential.
I guess, are you saying there that you're just going to plan on clearing up to that property line and then re-landscaping that with a fence after? Is that what you're saying? Or did you
Yes, I'm saying up at the back of the property line along that.
That's not what we're talking about.
We're talking about the butter.
We're talking about the side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the sides.
Okay. Were you saying that you were going to maybe keep the existing trees for now and maybe let us look at it and we'll come to an idea about what we can do?
There really isn't any trees on the sides. There's, I think, one on the left side existing.
Well, it shows four.
There's an entire row of trees there and landscape.
On that left. Okay.
Yeah, I can see those trees on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what?
Okay.
Tell you what you could do. You could locate the trees. Any trees over.
I see him on the plan. He's got them there.
Over whatever in diameter, and any trees that are healthy, that are over whatever, like 8 inches in diameter. You could locate those along the first 15 feet along there and put them on a plan for us. Is that something you might be able to do, you think?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. I mean, if I don't have to take the trees down, I wouldn't take them down.
Yeah.
If they're in good shape and they're healthy trees, I'd also incorporate more trees in there. If you want more trees, I'd add more trees to it and do a little more extensive design on the landscaping.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're just thinking maybe
The influence of lighting is the other thing I was asking about. I mean, I of course would like to protect the vegetation that is there, but to look at the plan as it's currently presented, it's bringing asphalt. First of all, it's covering a massive portion of the lot in asphalt. So there's already a high water table in that area and on that property that we're discussing, as well as on our property. So I would want to make sure that from a lighting protection perspective, we're paying attention to the influence, but also to the water and where it might go.
Okay.
Yeah, so the water is handled through the stormwater regulations and peer review. And the project, they're not allowed to increase the runoff at all. I mean, they have to they have to prove that with calculations, and then we have the town's peer review engineers
Right.
confirm that the calculations are correct.
Yep. No, it's the vegetation and and all of the additional lighting, etc. was my first question.
Right.
So are you saying you're planning a fence along the back border but not the sides, or are you suggesting the perimeter would be fenced?
I wasn't planning on fencing the sides.
Okay.
But you could fence that side, right?
I mean,
I,
I'm sorry?
You could fence that side if, as part of the approval process, don't you think?
I could put a fence on the side?
Yeah, don't you think so?
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, we could do that if, you know, I'd like to put some landscaping in there and make it look
Right.
really nice.
I would too.
Instead of, I mean, fences are more to give privacy.
Okay, then yeah, go ahead. Then go ahead and locate the significant trees, and put them on a plan, and we'll go out there and we'll look at it, and we'll get a plan together to kind of to get that figured out there, and you know.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a photometric lighting plan, and you know, pay a lot of attention to. The last thing I want to do is light everything up. You know, I want everything to light showing down.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll make sure there aren't any like actually big lights right over on that side.
Right. The regulations require that they be dark sky friendly and downcast, and that they not cast onto abutting properties.
Yeah, and at the same time, we just like there wouldn't be the need for like a tall light that's compliant, like right at the rear of that parking spot, right? We could place it somewhere else that's going to not be as
yeah, and dark sky. It should be dark sky too.
Yep, they will be. Okay,
Thank you.
That's kind of why I think I don't know if it's possible, just kind of cutting that building over to the, over to the west, to the right, just to, maybe just by that distance that there is just almost to the property line or something. Maybe we'll just kind of bring it off the Barker's, property a little bit and just kind of offset things to just have a better look. But we can think about that. Maybe that's just my idea. I don't know.
Thank you. I appreciate your consideration.
Yep. And another one, another attendee with their hand raised.
Hi, Dale Carister, 21 South Street. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
So I was pleased to see that the project is a mixed-use project. As the board is aware from some of my comments on a prior project, I've been very concerned that we were just adding density without serving the goal of providing a more walkable area. And so I think this project can, significantly add towards that goal. And I particularly like the idea of having something on, on the first floor where you might have some outdoor dining, patio space, something along those lines that's sort of inviting. And toward that end, I was pleased with how Mr. Adams had handled the Aroma Joe's project, where he was responsive to public comments and ultimately put in sort of a pad with a table out front, because it sends a message of being a little bit more inviting for pedestrians as well. So I was pleased with what I've seen with the project plans so far. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Stephanie. What will be the future of seeing a sidewalk there? Is that the state, because this is a state road?
This is part of the long-term Foundry Street improvement project, where there will be sidewalks, a multi-use path. So again, right now, in the very, very preliminary phase, I think they're just starting the 25% design, and this is a 10-year project for Foundry Street, where the town will be looking for sidewalks, a multi-use path, so one on either side, and traffic management improvements. So that is part of the long-term plan.
Yep.
And that is, again, it's a big project. It's going to take some time, but the first steps were begun, a year and a half ago on that project.
Yeah.
If not 2 years.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so for this, I think we need to know more about if the wetlands will be, involved, if any wetlands will be involved, right? And I think I would hope that the applicants will at least entertain us with an alternate plan with the building brought out, and we can look at it and kind of think about how we like that. We can't tell you exactly how you should do that, but I think we all were supportive of at least exploring the option of bringing the building forward. And then it talked about identifying any of the major trees there on the western side of the property. Is there anything else there that anyone else wanted to really kind of see on maybe like a revised preliminary plan?
Peter, I don't have something for the revised plan because I think we've covered it a lot. I do want to make one comment. So Mr. Adams mentioned that 3 of the units are intended to be 3-bedroom.
Yep.
And he has not yet determined which type of unit is going to be the affordable. And I know, speaking on behalf of the Affordable Housing Trust and just the need within the community, that we would really like to see one of the 3-bedroom units be the affordable unit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, I mean, I'm the one that proposed affordable on the last one, so I'm not against affordable here, right? But I'm going to actually make a comment, kind of contrary to that, but not contrary, just a different idea, is that given that we've gone with the mixed use and, and this site is a little bit overloaded, if we wanted to reduce or drop the affordable for this particular project, but more in lieu of a little more open space and maybe just dropping a unit, that's a possibility. I mean, it's the applicant's job to kind of tell us what works for them with the numbers, but we produced plenty of affordable in the last one, and that was my idea, so I'm not like against it, but just another idea about kind of letting the applicant kind of tell us what works for them with the mixed use is
so Peter,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm a little confused. Are you suggesting that allowing the applicant to drop the affordable requirement?
Yeah, and also drop one of the
one unit,
one of the apartment buildings, and maybe make the site plan work a little better, and maybe leave them a little more open space for the people that are going to live there. Just an idea. I mean,
but I think the affordable is required.
It's not a good one, but that's just another idea.
No, I do think that the affordability is a requirement of the zoning.
Well, it wasn't on the last one until I brought it up.
I don't think it is.
I don't recall that either.
Remember we made it like, we had brought it up at the beginning of the last, I'm talking the last one being the one across from Burger King, so I don't have the exact number there.
Okay. Well,
and it wasn't a requirement until we just got to the point of the project where it was a good idea. We thought it was a good idea to make it a requirement as part of the special permit. But
I think if I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead.
Once the project reaches 10 dwelling units.
Right, thank you.
For this area, you're required to provide one affordable unit, I believe. That may be different than the last project, but that's what I recall for this one.
You said how many units?
Once you reach 10 proposed dwelling units.
And how many do you have there? Yeah, you have 12. Yeah. So.
We have 10 plus the affordable, 11 total.
Okay. Well, so that's 11, right? Okay. Yeah. So then you have to go back down to, so it's like if you want 10, you have to have 11, or if you want 9, you wouldn't have to have the affordable, but then that would be dropping 2 units, right? Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's check that out, because that's not how it worked with what I'm calling the last one. So let's get that.
So now, are we saying that 9 is an option if they want to bring that?
Well, it's definitely an option. If 9's an option and there would be no affordable involved,
right?
But if what Mr. Hermano is stating is correct,
we need to see what are the cons.
Yeah, good exercise here anyway. So let's look at some different options and see what works best for everyone. Including the affordability, including bumping the house up. I mean, the building up, right? It's not right saying you have to do it, but at least let's look at it and see how it works and see what we can do with this.
Okay. That's agreed.
An okay plan.
Agreed.
All right. Did that give you a little bit of stuff to do there that you can get ready for us? All right.
Definitely.
Great. Well, thank you for coming in.
All right. Thank you for hearing us. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay. Next up here is Stephanie. That's really how for the agenda. I think you mentioned something else might be on the agenda, but it's not. So we'll just not address that. Okay. So we have meeting minutes.
Oh, I'll talk about that under the planning
Okay,
director.
yeah, okay.
updates.
All right, yeah, okay. The meeting minutes were in the packet, right? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone have any comments or suggestions for those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes, Stetson.
Kevin, second.
Okay. All in favor? Stetson?
Aye.
Got him.
Aye.
DeShane, aye. The minutes have been approved. It looks like we have staff report here first next on the agenda. Stephanie?
So this is just a quick little update. I was approached probably a month or so ago from some of the residents at Gaslight Village, and they were questioning why their condominium complex is in a business zone. And I explained that at the time, that was where multifamily zoning was allowed. And they are interested in perhaps having that changed. So they are going to put a little proposal together and come before the board and make a suggestion that the board consider changing the zoning to something related to residential use.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like, they don't really, there's no reason they have to do it, but there's no reason why we should say we wouldn't support it. So it's, I mean, I guess unless anyone else, Robert or Amos, can you think of any reason why that would or would not be a good idea to?
And again, because it's not, we're not doing a hearing and it wasn't posted specifically, I don't think we should get into a lot
Okay, all right, let's not
of
get into it. Yeah,
discussion,
so,
but
all right, if they come by, if they want to do that, we'll talk to them about it and hear them out. And okay, good idea.
But just so I understand, they're looking for an exception to the zoning that we put together for that area?
Well,
no, they want to have town meeting rezone it to residential because
Right.
they are in fact a residential use, but it's a business district. Because that's how it was approved way back in the old when it was approved.
All right, so this wasn't part of the recent zoning that we did. I mean, I know it's in the area. I can't remember every single parcel.
Yeah, it's
I
part
think
of
we
the
just
new
didn't
zone.
touch that
I
one.
think a portion,
Okay.
yeah,
No, right, yeah. So it's not a redo of anything. It's just when it was approved way back when it was approved, it was business, and it stayed that way ever since. And the condominium association or some of the people that live there would like to explore the option of changing to residential zoning.
Yeah.
Stephanie, how about the revised information that group was working for us on the MBTA zoning?
yeah, we don't have anything to share at the moment, so.
Okay, so we should see that.
For the next meeting.
Yeah, the only thing I kicked from the last meeting seemed like it went well. I did kind of listen to a couple. There was maybe one or maybe it was two comments, but from some of the residents in the area that maybe we could look at maybe like two areas, so that we're not just completely concentrating the density in that one Foundry Street area. But that's not really what we. So.
I asked Peter. I asked for that too.
Yeah.
I specifically asked to consider more than one area.
Okay, well, there were plenty of areas proposed. We didn't run the numbers through on any other areas, unless we did include Belmont. So let's see how the numbers look when they come back, if that's okay with you guys, and then we can kind of hopefully revisit adding another area without starting over again. Is that okay?
Works for me.
All right. That's all I have for updates, and so that brings us to the end of the meeting, unless anyone else has anything.
Make a motion to adjourn, Stetson.
Kevin, second.
Okay, all in favor? Tatum,
Aye.
Shane, aye. Stetson?
That's an aye.
That did that backwards. Okay, good night. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye.